hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today to talk about books. And it is our third book of the month. And today I thought we'd get a little more cozy. So instead of standing in front of the book display, talking about books, I'm just going to sit. I'm in the basement of the library. I've got the books here. I've got a little snack. And I thought we'd just sit and talk about books. So if you'd like to get a snack, I'll wait for you while you do that, and then you can come back and join me. So our book this time is Dead Things Are Closer Than They Appear, and the author is Robin Wasley. And this is a YA fantasy. And while there are some unknowns, it's not a hybrid fantasy mystery like the last two previous books were. Sid Spencer feels like she's an ordinary girl. Maybe the most ordinary of all. Her best friend Nell is beautiful. Her brother Maddie attends a private school and he's very smart. Sid is Korean American and her family adopted her. She is one of only 4 Asians living in her community, and the only one who understands her experience is Maddie, her brother, who is also adopted. They both have questions that many adopted people have, and it's difficult living in a community where they're treated as different from everybody else. A while ago, Sid wrote a letter to a guy that she liked. His name is Finn. And she told him how she felt about him. And he shared the letter with the rest of the basketball team, and Sid is feeling humiliated. Some of the other basketball team members are now calling her names and teasing her. Worst of all, Finn didn't return her feelings. In fact, he likes Nell, and why wouldn't he? She's perfect. Now they're dating, and Sid has lost her best friend. Nell chose Finn over Sid. One night while Sid is home alone, she feels a tremor. They live in Llewelyn, affectionately known as Wellesley. And it's a tourist town where the attraction is the fault line and the magic associated with it. This fault line has a group of guardians that watches over specific segments of it. After the tremor, Sid looks outside and goes outside, and her town is changing. The fault is opening, and an old-growth forest is springing up around her. And before she knows it, zombie-like creatures called shells are roaming the forest alone, and frightened for her family, she realizes she has to find them and ensure that they are safe. One of the guardians finds Sid. It's someone Maddie knows, one of his classmates, Brian. She learns another guardian has died. A group of violent men, led by Paul, are looking for the guardians. Paul wants the guardians' powers, all of them, and he wants their keys to each segment of the vault. Sid joins up with the guardians, trying to save Llewelyn and find the other guardians. Because, as she'll soon learn, one of the guardians is someone she knows and cares about. Feeling powerless, Sid finds the strength to fight through groups of shells, battle Paul and his gang, and discovered the extraordinary within herself. This is a character-driven story. In the acknowledgments, the author discusses her writing process, and she develops the characters first, their backstories, their relationships to one another, and the journey that they'll take from the beginning of the story to the end. And you can really see this in the book. You'll feel everything the characters feel and experience. And you'll know them so well that you'll empathize with their choices. Books to read for a similar experience are stories or series with well-developed characters in a fantasy setting. The first one is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Next one is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne Brown. And the third one I'll suggest is The Ivory Key by Akshaya Raman. Oh yes, we have the challenge card to talk about also. So with this book, my challenge was to take a walk and notice 5 things. And I very much enjoyed this challenge. I personally like taking walks all year round. I took a walk, and when I was walking, I was near a river. So here are some of the things I noticed. There were ducks, Canada geese, and trumpeter swans flying around and swimming on the river. I was walking down the road, and I looked up and I noticed the branches of one of the trees, and the background between them was the sky, and I really like that contrast between the blue of the sky and the branches. At sunset, there was purple and rose gold color in the sky, which I really like too. The trembling aspen already have some buds that are swelling, while the red oak are nowhere near that. They still have the dried leaves from last year hanging on and protecting the buds that are forming. And I also noticed some otters in the river. And I think what I'm going to do with all those things that I noticed is use that for my book journal. So I have a book journal where I do each month, and I kind of decorate a page for the month, and then I just write the title of the books that I've read, and I do a short review of each of those titles. And I think what I'm going to do for March is I'm going to use those elements from the walk to create the March page. So I will have some of the elements from my walk to remind me of what March was like this year. So, next book, and I don't have it with me because I left it at home this morning, but the next book that I will be reading is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and the thing I need to do for that is to create a bingo card while I'm reading it. So, I will, next time, share my bingo card writing process with you, and I will show you the bingo card that I create for the book. We'll talk about the book, and then we'll see how I did on the bingo card. So there we are. I hope that you enjoyed this today, and I hope that you are enjoying whatever that you are reading. I will be back next week with the review for Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I will be back later this week with an Explore and Create activity. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you.